Is it recording?
Yep.
Hey everybody, Sean with Bio Unlimited. We're going to try and fix an Argo tire. A few of you guys have had problems with sidewall splits and stuff. I got a good one, as you can see, probably about 3 inches long. We're going to see if we can fix this thing, because I'm not spending $200 on a new tire. So, if we go inside here, you can see the split there. You want to kind of get an idea of where it is. You see it all right there? So what we're going to do, we're going to take our die grinder with our flap wheel. You see it there? Okay, we're going to take our die grinder with our flap wheel on it. Basically it's just an emery onto a little die grinder disc. And we need to clean it out. Alright, so we got some rubbing alcohol. You can get tire buff compound and other stuff. This I just happen to have in the shop and it'll do the same job. So basically what you want to do is you want to get some in there because you have to clean. I don't know if anybody's opened these tires up and you can notice the stuff inside. That's a release agent from when they mold the tires, and you need to get that out before you buff it because you do not want to buff that into your new repair because it'll actually release the vulcanizing glue. So we're just going to tip it over here. You might not be able to see this. Basically we're just putting some rubbing alcohol on there, and then you can take a knife or whatever and you want to scrape the inside of that. Same thing from some of the farm supply stores and stuff. You can get actual scrapers that do this job. But basically this just helps take some of that release agent off. So when you stick your new patch on, I don't know if you can see that on the edge of the knife there, just the extra goop and stuff. But this will clean all that release agent out, so when you actually go to put your patch on, it doesn't, basically it won't fall off afterwards. Alright. Rag here and wipe that excess out. Same thing, you don't want to use a dirty rag on this either. Oil and that kind of stuff will actually get in there as well and do the same thing. It'll actually release that patch afterwards. Alright. So now what we want to do is take our buffer and we're going to buff around that area to get an idea. Because it is on the sidewall, you want to use a bigger patch. You can see the one I got here, and these are a bias ply reinforced patch. You want the reinforcement because it's going to give you a little bit more stiffness to the sidewall, and you want something fairly big so it goes out beyond the actual cut, because you don't want the cut going out to the thin edge of this, or actually it'll just start leaking in between. You want it, you can't really see the thickness of that, but it thickens up right after this black edge where it starts turning gray. It actually thickens up a little bit, and that's going to be, there's actual what do you want to call it, the plies in the tire. Same thing is built into this. So you want one that's going to cover your damaged area, and it's going to give that reinforcement to the inside of it so it doesn't split out. So we'll get an idea, put our patch in there, we'll get an idea of how big we need to buff out, and we'll do that. Alright, we got it all buffed out. Excuse my light, the other one wasn't working very good. So here's our patch. You can see the patch here. And these ones do have a bead direction on them. That means that the plies are going to be running this way. Actually, I think these ones are on a 45-degree angle. So what you want to do, you want to buff it out. I don't know how well you can see that. But you want to buff it out bigger than the patch. This one's actually going to slide up a bit. So it's going to sit there. So you want to buff out an area bigger than the patch is. And then once you got that buffed out again, what you want to do is you want to put some more rubbing alcohol or your buff compound. I'm just going to tip it away here, you won't be able to see. But then you want to do the same thing, and you want to clean all the old rubber you just buffed out. You want to make it all nice and clean so the new patch is going to stick to clean, fresh rubber without any extra pieces of dust or anything like that in there. because same thing as a release compound, if there's any little bits of dust that were still stuck on that rubber that you don't clean away, they're going to get in behind that patch, and when it goes to vulcanize, it's not actually going to stick. And I did tires for a lot of years in my younger days, and so most of this stuff right now I'm just kind of winging it because I don't have the proper tools, whereas the tire shops they do. You wouldn't see a tire guy in a shop using his pocket knife as a scraper. Well, maybe you would, depending on where you live, I guess. And then once you got that all scraped off, you want to scrape away from the repair down away, so you're not rubbing stuff from the bottom of the tire back up in, and every time you do your wipe down, make sure you get a fresh piece of cloth. And you want to scrape it away from where the repair area is, like your hole, because if there's any little bits of dirt and pieces and stuff left over from when you're buffing, even if you do clean it out or vacuum it, you're still going to have you're still going to be recontaminating the area. Alright, and once you got that all cleaned out, there's still going to be rubbing alcohol and stuff inside the groove where the actual, there's still going to be inside the tear area. You're still going to have bits of rubbing alcohol and stuff like that. So stick with us here. We're just going to pause. We'll let that evaporate here for about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll go on to the gluing and patching. Alright, let it all dry out. I forgot to mention in the first part there, when you do the buffing, I don't know how well you can see that. When you look inside your tires, you see that crisscross pattern or maybe like a pebble type texture to it. You need to make sure it's all nice and flat, because when you put your new patch in, you're going to want to make sure that's all perfectly nice and flat. A couple little deviations aren't bad, but mostly, I don't know if you can see that part where it's kind of dimpled like rocks or whatever. Any bit of air that tries to get underneath the edge of that seal is going to try and track through all these little dimples or along these little ribs. So you want to make sure you get it all nice and flat, so it's a totally flat, smooth surface. Alright, now our vulcanizing glue here. Basically, how tire patching works is basically like if you've done any construction, it's like contact cement. So what we want to do, without making too big of a mess, is you want to put this glue and you want to cover the entire area that you just buffed out with this stuff, and we're going to let this dry for same thing, probably about 5 minutes or so, and it's going to set up, and then there's the same type of adhesive on the patch too. So when you let this set up and you let the other one set up, stick them together, that's what makes your bond. So there we go. Make sure we got everything covered in here. I don't know how well you can see that with my arm in the way. We want to make sure we get the entire area covered, even right down in where the cut is. And there we go. Okay, we'll let that set up for about 5 minutes here until it tacks up. Don't touch it to find out if it's tacked up. You'll see it'll go from a glossy like it is right now to flat. So pop back in 5 minutes. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes. We're going to put our patch on. You can see it kind of dulled out a little bit. It doesn't look so wet. Still got a little bit of a shine to it, but that's dry. So what we're going to do, when you take your patch out, same thing, you don't want to touch the back. Once you get this blue cover off, you don't want to touch the back part of it at all, really, with any dirt or anything on your fingers. Same thing, it's going to cause it to have issues. So we're basically going to do it like a band-aid. Start peeling your backing off, and then we're going to use that as a hold. Same thing on the other side. Maybe. Oops. Oh, now we got it touching over here. Crappy. I had to put a little spot there. So basically, yeah, we're going to put it like a band-aid. So you're going to have to visualize in your head. It's going to be like target practice. Visualize in your head where that repair is. Notice your bead direction. And when you put it on, I'm going to have to lay this down to make it work for me a little bit better, so you guys won't be able to see. Bear with me here. Okay, stop it.
What? Stop it?
Yeah.